Hello friends, this is Cara-Renee with B.Reborn Art and Healing, coming to you with a video. We're going to be making the cover for this journal together. So this is kind of what I'm thinking. I have these old clay bits. Well, I just did this one. The last couple of days I went ahead and did a couple of molds, and so it's irregular, it's imperfect, but I don't mind. And so yeah, we're going to be using that. These are some old pieces that I had in my stash that I did a long time ago. This one's done with clay, and this one was done with epoxy, or resin, sorry. I'm looking for a solution for how to do more resin in the clay molds. And then this was an old butterfly, and I just thought it was perfect for the top there. So that's what we're going to be doing. This is the first Winter Wonder journal, so there are two, and they're going to kind of cross over because this is actually an image from a kit that I'm using in the other journal. But as you can see, let me move some of these supplies so you guys can see what I'm talking about here. The tones and stuff are still the same, so I thought it would be perfect to use this girl on the front cover. So this is I've already sewn the signatures in. Uh-oh. That one's upside down. What the what? That's a sad thing. A sad thing indeed. Where's the other side of that upside down page? That's not cool. Where is it? I'm just now noticing that, of course, when I turn the camera on. Yeah, so because this one doesn't look upside down, but it actually is. So again, I don't stress about that. I will figure out a way to make it look okay. So I'll probably put something over that instead of trying to undo the signatures and do them again. So caution, always make sure that the directions of your papers are correct before you sew them in. I did already stitch around all the pages. I'll be putting lace and such on them later. But this is the first Winter Wonder journal. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to create some collage on the top. So we're going to create a kind of like a topper, but we're going to put it directly on this cover. This fabric is absolutely gorgeous. Look at the sparkle. So that's pretty fun. I'm not sure when I'm going to bind the other one in. We'll see. So so let's go ahead and get going. So I'm going to set this here because we are going to need it for to evaluate the size of everything that we're doing here. So we're going to be painting the clay mold, so we're going to actually start with that because we need them to have a chance to dry. So I'm going to set these things aside. Sorry for the waffling. Got some vintage lace. This is actually from Vanessa from Clemens Crafts. This was in one of her boxes so that she sent to me, so perfect. And then some of this is the last of this beautiful lace. So I thought we would go ahead and have her have a great last hurrah in this journal. And so what we're going to do is, I don't worry about my glass top, so I'm going to put paint directly. Well, actually I have this palette paper. Hold on. Pardon my body, you guys. It's not a good scene. So I'm going to move my mouse so I don't stop the video inadvertently. So let's move that up there. And I'm just going to make some room here. I've got my tear ruler to tear some papers down. And so I'm just going to put this to the side so that we can paint our clay bits. So they're going to be painted. We've got to give them a coat of gesso to start with, so that they will, you know what, actually they're already kind of porous. I don't know if you guys can tell that. I don't know that we need a layer of gesso. Let's go ahead and not use the gesso. So if this was didn't have any porous features to it, I would definitely do gesso to have a base that our acrylic paints will stick to. But we're not going to have any trouble here at all. These are, well, this one is, you know what? This one's clay, but this one's resin. Well, let's see. Let's see how it goes. So we can always paint over them if we don't like them. So I'm going to start with painting them. What was I going to do? I'm going to paint them with the Payne's gray. This is that really beautiful blue gray. And but I'm going to mix it with a little bit of white because I don't want it quite as bright as that. So let me just, this is made for a palette, not to put my things on. Oh my goodness. I'm filming this on New Year's Day, so I had both of my sisters that went to our family New Year's Eve party, and then I had to take them both home. So I didn't get home until like 1:30 in the morning. So I am a little tired. So I'm gonna just play around with my mix here and get a good, I would need a lighter color of this Payne's Gray, but look at this color. Isn't that just beautiful? Oh, so just delicious. Yeah, this is good. This is good. I don't want it to be too dark. Awesome. What I might do, pardon me just a second, I'm going to see if I have tags in here that I can sop up. Oh, I do. Awesome. So I'm going to grab some of these tags and sop up some of this paint when we're done. So that looks good. I wanted it to be more of a gray. I'm going to put just a little bit more Payne's Gray in. Feels a little bit too light. There we go. More like that. So I'm going to go ahead and paint these. And one more. This is our last piece. And I know it's kind of weird that they're all the same color, but it's going to be awesome. In the end, it's going to be perfect. So let's just finish this one up. And I'm going to go ahead and just take a moment when I'm done painting these and go ahead and clean up and dry these, and then I'll be back. And we're just going to continue to build up the cover sequentially rather than bop back and forth between the clay pieces and the paper parts of this project. So that will be easier. I tend to like popcorn around sometimes in my videos. So there we go. Do I have any water in here? I do not. So I'll just set that right there. So I will be right back once I've cleaned up and dried these. Okay. I'm just going to leave this palette paper, and I didn't have enough paint over here to sop up with my my tags, but that's actually good news in my world because I always waste paint. So so we're going to go ahead and I decided to go ahead and do a glaze on this first, a raw umber glaze. So I'm going to move these over here, and oh, we didn't get all the edges of that, but that's going to be okay because we're going to do a glaze. So see how I missed some, got some white showing. It's going to be okay. So actually, yeah, we're going to do a glaze. So I've got my, not my Payne's Gray, raw umber fluid acrylic from Golden. One of my kind of can't live without supplies, which is currently plugged up. Let's see if we can get that unplugged. I'm not very good at cleaning the bottle tops of these, so you don't need much. So about like that, and then we're going to mix in a little bit of fluid matte medium. This is Liquitex. And so usually you do 1 part paint to 2 parts glazing medium. And I'm going to grab a wipe here so I can wipe this brush off and use the same brush here. I did, so I have these ice cream containers, and I fill these up and I put them with the caps on inside my little door behind me, and then, but I forgot about them, so I got those out while I was drying. So we're just going to mix this up way too much, so maybe we will sop up some stuff on those tags, goodness gracious. So we're just going to put just a coat on here. I don't know if this is going to be very effective because I don't want it to get super grungy. I want it to be more bright and wintry. But we're just going to play and experiment and see what we think. Okay. I'm going to get that down in those areas where I missed the white. So I'm just coating it, same as any, if you haven't seen my videos where I do glazes a lot, we're able to wipe a lot of this off because it's a glaze. So we're just gonna get that all inked up, and then I'm gonna grab some wipes. Hopefully I don't run out while I'm doing this video. And we're just gonna, I'm gonna start with the rose, and I'm just gonna wipe, okay? Let me pick this up so you guys can see what I'm talking about, because then the brown only stays down in the valleys and not on the top. So I think this is the look I was going for. So get a little bit more of that off right there. And you can leave or wipe off as much as you like. So look at that. So you can still see that blue-gray, but it's kind of pushed back with that glaze, which I love. And so I'm going to do the same with these. Oh, that's working out really well on that scrolly thing. I did these a long time ago. I can't even remember. I mean, years ago. So they've just been sitting in my stash waiting to find a home. Loving that. Oh my goodness, this is so cool. Yeah. And there's our beautiful butterfly. So let me mix this a little bit more and use up some of this glaze. I'm gonna put a little bit, this is kind of counterintuitive, but I am gonna put a little bit of Payne's Gray out here. So that I have something else to mix with for these tags, and we're just gonna do something here. There we go, just so we don't waste the glaze. So I've never done this before, so I'm not sure with a glaze. So I'm gonna put that brush away, and I'm just gonna try to dip into this a little bit, see what we get. Might not be effective, but we'll see. Probably not gonna be effective. That's pretty thick. But, you know, we're committed now. Let me grab another one. Payne's Gray. It's actually kind of pretty. We'll see what happens. I actually like that. Yeah. Perfect. We got 2 tags out of that. So again, I'll be right back after these are dry, and we will continue on. Okay, let me just put some of these things aside here since we're done with them. The last thing that we're going to do is, usually I come in with iridescent gold fine to highlight those elements that stick up, but today we're going to live on the wild side, and I'm going to use this iridescent silver fine, which I'm not a big fan of silver, but we're gonna try it. I'm going to move these though and get a clean palette here, paper here, so you guys can see what we're looking at. Oh, we've got another bit that's not covered. Let's see if I can cover that with a little bit of raw umber. Boom. There's always a fix. Those are a little bit sticky, so we're going to have to be very careful. I want to make sure this gets covered though, so white edges look really tacky, so making sure that everything's covered on these. That's beautiful. Okay, let me get rid of this messy piece of palette paper. Toss that in the garbage. Dab myself off here again. It's so messy. So messy. So I had a play. By the time you see this video, you will have already seen a video where I share and play with my new 12 by 14 jelly plate that I got for Christmas from my husband. But let me show you the ones I did, the one I did for this project. So I was successful after playing, not on video but off video, but this, we're going to be using this. I did alter it with the filter so it's got a little bit more blue coming out, but this back here is the Payne's Gray. And then I just love that we didn't get super dark with this, and it looks very much more like snow rather than, if you saw the other video, everything was pretty grungy, because grungy is my go-to. So so that was a little bit different. So we're going to go ahead and set these back on here. Like so. And I'm just going to take a little bit of this iridescent gold fine and not try to get it all over myself. Boy, messy girl today. Just put a little bit on my palette paper here. Don't need much. You could use acrylic paint. You could just use like a glitter paint or kind of an iridescent paint instead of this if you don't have this. But Okay, so we're just going to go rub over this. Not too much, just a little bit. We don't want it to overtake it. Oh, that's gorgeous. Let me show you that close up. Look at that. Oh my gosh, that's so beautiful. So beautiful. So you're just barely getting any on your finger and just kind of rubbing in a circular motion. I don't normally work in these colors, so I'm really fascinated by this project. And I thought about going in with a color in with the stamens, but I don't think I'm gonna. I'm just gonna go in there with a little bit more of the silver and just let that be good. So again, you don't want to overdo it, just like that. So let me wipe my fingers off again. I'm gonna set this aside and let it dry, that little bit dry on its own. And then we're going to start working on our base. So, get situated. Okay, I have to dry this though so I don't put my paper in on a wet surface. There we go. Okay, so we're going to be doing some distressing of the edges of our paper. So let me show you the papers that I have selected. I actually need to move this other thing with the messy tag so I don't get anything in that. Okay, so here is our journal. And then here are the papers that I chose. So this is an image, again, this is from Kleeblot Creations as well, but it's from her, I think it's Fairy Winter kit. And so I'm using this as well. So I cut it, I shrunk it down a little bit so that it's not too overpowering of an image. I've got these different textiles, and I'm kind of up in the air about which one I want to use. I'm leaning towards this one. Oh, there's two there. There's white. I think I want the white to just lighten this up a little bit. So I've got a bit of that we'll use to layer. And then I took, this is the other half of the digital, and I put it through my embossing machine. Okay, and I think what we're going to do with this is we're going to use some of the silver paint. I've got some music page. This is a vintage music paper from my stash, and I printed it on coffee dyed paper. And then this is a altered, filtered image of this. So see how this is more grayed out, but I was able to bring out the blues, which is what I really wanted. So, so we've got that. So let's see, let me put the journal aside there, and I'm going to go in with a little bit of that silver. It's kind of hard to get in here, and I'll be able to use what we don't use on the cover because I'm just going to tear this a little bit and get just pieces of it. So I want very little of this silver, and I'm going to see how this is going to work with just my finger. And so I just, again, ran that through the embossing machine to get some texture. It's working okay. I don't want to overdo it. The silver is very different for me. I prefer gold, but this is going to be beautiful. Let me hold this up for you. Look at that. So we're going to be mostly tearing this up into a little bit of collage fodder for this project. And I'm thinking I want to do, since I've got the silver out, I think I want to go around after I ink her up. Hold on, let me ink her up first with a little bit of vintage photo, and then we're going to put a little bit of silver around the edge here. I thought it was ink just because that's part of the digital on those edges. There we go. Okay, get that out of there. And then we're just going to do that same thing, but we're just going to get it on the edges of this card piece. Again, you don't want to overdo it. Just, you can always add more. You can't. It's harder to take it away. So you can just proceed slowly. I'm used to doing this, so I kind of know like what I'm desiring in terms of the effect, but you can play around. So that's what that looks like with a little bit of silver around it. And then this is the other piece that I thought we could pull some of this ornate stuff out of it. So we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to speed this part up, and I'm going to just put a little bit of this silver all over this digital, and then I'll be right back. This is so pretty, you guys. These digitals are just over the top, beautiful. Let's show you this one too. Even though it's over this fairy person, I think it's really gorgeous. So let me just wipe that up really quick. And so there we go. We got a little bit much on her head, but that's okay. Because we're going to be using this as, again, collage fodder throughout the journal. So I'll set the rest of that aside, and we'll have it for other things. So now we need to think about the base. So I'm going to get my tear ruler out, and we're going to tear this down. But I do want to be looking at the size of this. Actually, I'm going to use the die since that's wet. The die that I used, we'll use that kind of as a template for size on how big our main image is, so that we know how to tear these other pieces down. So I think I'm going to turn it this way. I'm going to use my tear ruler on the edges here and just get rid of our white border. Go. So let's kind of see what part of it's not much of this is going to show. I'm thinking I want to go more for the blue part here, so I'm going to tear this actually in about at that point, and then we're going to put this on here so that we know how much we need. So we don't need much, so I'm going to tear down about right here. We may have to tear more as we move along here. We're just trying to get, actually, let me pull the image over. This is difficult to imagine. Oh, wow. Wow, wow, wow. That's beautiful. So we also have some book page. So let me, this is going to bring in a little bit of a vintage feel. So I have a really hard time not having things be vintage. So this one's I'm gonna probably rough tear some of these. So what do we want to have? Maybe we want the music paper to be a bigger part of the base. So let me bring this over, because I don't really want all of this silver showing, but I also don't want it completely covered. So I think I'm going to take some off of this side, just to make it a little bit narrower. And let's pull that back over. Yeah, like that, because then as we build this up, you'll be able to see that music paper, which will be lovely. So let me tear that down just a smidge. Okay, so, and again, these will be torn in various ways as we continue to move along, because our image is so much smaller. We need to actually, do I have a big enough piece of this to change my mind? Let's get this one. Let's get this one and make it a little bit bigger. Where do we want this part? I think this part would be better. I like these leaves in there. That turned out really beautiful. So let me move this. And I'm going to tear this jelly print down to, just so that we see only some of that music paper kind of peeking out. Off my rocker. We want it to be mostly the same size. A little bit can be peeking out, but not a lot. So I'm going to go ahead and just grab that off. And then, so there we've got our first layers, and I'm going to introduce a little bit more of the book page, or the music paper as well. If I can find a piece of it. Again, just to have multiple layers here. So I'm going to use my distress tool, not on that, on these, and see if we can get these a little bit roughed up and inked up. So I said in my Beloved Beauty Monthly that just went up on the channel today that I was gonna not do so much signature binding and actual like the construction of a journal. I'm gonna focus a little bit more on other things, but I did say that I will probably still do some journal cover work because it gives me an opportunity to share some ideas for covers that are more along the lines of mixed media. So I'm loving that. I'm going to go ahead and bend that and get that a little bit of ink. Make it look a little bit older. I love it. I'm loving this. Loving this. Okay, so there's our base. And we've got this piece because I do want a little bit, but I'm going to do a rough tear on this, which is what I usually do. So just doing things a little bit different today. Again, trying to break out of some ruts. I haven't gotten to the comments yet for today's video, but Yvonne commented and asked a really legit and good question, and that is, why do I feel like I need to get outside of my box? So let me talk to you about that just for a quick second. So I'm a routine person. I like to do things that are safe. I like to do things that are a little less risky. Now, when I tell my story and I use my voice, I risk a lot being vulnerable, but risking doing new things in my crafting experience is a little bit scary. And so when I talk about breaking out of my box, or why do I feel like I need to break out of my box, is because I feel like that's how we grow. It's also how we figure out if a new style suits us or doesn't suit us. If you don't try a new style, you're not going to know if it's for you or not. It doesn't mean that if you try it, you're going to like it and you're going to continue to do it. It's all about experimenting and just kind of branching out a little bit into areas that are new for you, because you can have some really happy discoveries. So that's why it's important to me. So here we go. Enough of that. So, oh, this is so beautiful. So I have all that blue on that edge, which is fine. That often happens. Okay, this is the way it often happens for my covers. So let's pull in a little bit of this. I don't know how well this tears. I guess nope, it doesn't tear. So let's see if we can just kind of cut it crooked a little bit here. This is from, I believe, Amazon. I ordered a paper pack, and I love it. Oh, that actually looks really pretty on top of her, doesn't it? Whoa. Whoa, that's pretty cool. I think I'm going to put a little bit of this between these two layers. I'm not sure if I like what I did there, making that rough. There we go. Okay. So let me get a piece of that and just trim this off with my scissors. Doesn't have to be exact, but I don't tend to go out of the lines very often, hence my need to get out of the box, because I tend to just be very, I also tend to be pretty symmetrical in my thinking as well as my life. So, oh, I love that there. That is beautiful. So the other thing that we want to do, and I'll move all that over so it fits, is we want to introduce some textiles in here as well. So this, again, is the last of the bits of this, but I thought it would be fun to put it on one side of this collage bit. So I'm going to just scooch all that over a little bit. and see what we've got left here for the edge. All thumbs apparently. So I don't want it to go all the way. Well, maybe I do. I wonder what it would look like if I just kind of wrapped that around. I don't like that. I feel like it needs to go just on this side of her. But let me think about it a second. Decisions. They're always difficult. What do we have here? We might have a piece that we don't have to waste, that big one. This is actually a really good bit here, so let's put that under there as well and see what it looks like. Come up on the corner. Yeah, I feel like that's better. I'll probably cut off some of that excess, but that feels really good to me. The only problem is that this is going to be on the opening side, and it's usually better to do that on the opposite. So let's flip the direction of all this stuff. We're just gonna move it to this side. Easy peasy. And just don't know if I like that edge because it's kind of wonky. Let me just see if I can make it look not quite so weird. Oh, that's a little bit better. And so that bumps up there, and then we can flip this around so it's opening up there. Okay, like that. And then we can pop that in there. And then that way this doesn't impede the journal in any way. So what do you think? I think we should go for it. I think we should go for it. So I'm just going to lift these up. And I'm going to actually just leave that in, let's see, what did that look like going all the way to the top? I think it actually is okay. It's different for me, but we're gonna embrace different. I don't want a lot of it hanging out because I don't, again, want it to get in the way. So I'm gonna just slide this off, and I'm gonna just try to follow where I was with that glue here as far as how far in I'm going. I'm not going to go too low because I don't know how much this lace is going to cover that. So let me just place that on there. And I think I want it to come down a little bit. Like so. Perfect. Oh, I love it. This is a little bit wild and crazy here. So I feel like I need to pull this over so that that part is not so floppy there on the edge. Go ahead and I believe that this journal will be for sale. I'm pretty sure, so if you're interested, you can definitely let me know. I don't sell very many of my journals, but I'm thinking about selling this one and probably the other one. So I feel like I don't like that, so I'm just going to trim that off. Yeah, that feels a little bit better. Oh, I love it. Okay, so let's go ahead and build up this part. Now, we do want to think about, do we want anything on this edge? I don't think so, as far as lace. So I'm going to just turn this stuff over, and we're going to start gluing down, okay? Now our clay, you might be wondering what happens to our clay pieces. They'll be able to extend past this collage part here. So I'm just bumping that pretty close to that edge there. Uh-oh. Is our music upside down? Nope. That would just be me, wouldn't it? Okay, and then this was going to go here. So I'm just going to go ahead and put a bunch of glue here. Not going to see a whole lot of the jelly print, but it's peeking through, which is the beauty of layers in mixed media. So slide that over. Grab my paper towel and just kind of pat that and get that to set where it can. It's kind of a netting kind of paper, so it's a little bit tricky. And if the video gets too long, guys, I will be able to cut some of this out, but if it gets too long, you can speed me up to 1.5 times the normal speed and it doesn't sound awful. So you can always do that. I think I do want just a peek of this on this edge, so I'm going to trim off just about that much, because this, we'll be talking more about this as we start to do some mixed media work, but there's a benefit in balancing the pieces of your project. So like, see how then we've got it on both sides, and let me just play around with this and see if we like that. And it's just a little bit of an effect there on that edge in terms of, we don't have hardly any of that snow showing the paper. It's okay. So, and then we kind of go like that, and then we've got this all sticking out here. I'm not loving that everything's sticking out irregularly. I'm going to trim this one down just a bit because I feel like it's sticking up too much. And that seems to be a little bit high as well. So let's see if we can trim just any bit of that off. I feel like it's a little bit too tall, so better to be shorter than taller. Just ask me, I know from experience. My son-in-law got me a little, like a picker upper, a grabber that has the handle. So I'm like, oh, now I really feel old. But it'll help me to reach the paper towels on the top, up above our counters, or our cupboards. So there we go. So that feels better. Yes, that feels better. Okay. I'm thinking I can move that over just a little bit. I want to be able to see some of that white sparkle. Yeah. Okay, question. Do we want this to go here instead, in between these two layers? Yeah, I think we do. Yep. So guys, as you do this kind of thing, your eyes and your heart and your mind will tell you if it's pleasing to you or not. If it's not pleasing to you, don't do it. Follow your instinct, because it's yours and it's valuable. So there we go. So let's see where this can land here. Do we want it like right in the middle-ish? Yeah, I think I kind of want it in the middle of this part of it. I'm just going to go all the way to the edge just to get good stickage. And I'm just going to kind of aim for that. I love that rough edge right there. That's cool. But I don't want it sticking out too much, right? Maybe about that much. I love this so much. Look at that, guys. Look at that. Wow. Ooh, I love that. Okay, so I think we're ready to move on and build this the rest of the way on our cover. This is where it gets a little risky. Oftentimes I'll do a topper on a piece of cardboard so that it's a little bit less risky than gluing it directly on here, but we're going to embrace the risk. So I want to see if I want any of this on here underneath. I don't think so. I think we're just going to be a little bit more, what's the word I want? Minimalistic here. I'm just making sure everything is nice and inked up the way I want it to be. So we're going to set that there. Let me test and see if these feel like they're dry. They are dry. Okay, so let me bring all the pieces over. And I like to use E6000 to attach these kinds of things. So I'm just reaching to grab a small bottle of it. Hold on. Ugh. Okay, just a small, I keep these in the small tubes because they tend to get plugged up and dry off, and I don't use them that often. So the idea here was to go, and this, I hope this lace isn't going to get in our way, but the idea was, oh, this is so pretty. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I'm making sure that it's dry because I don't want to transfer any paint. So we had that there, and then we had this one on the other side. I think if we went out like that a little bit, that might be kind of cool. And then, let's see. What do you think? Not sure that I love it. This can also go up. So I feel like this needs to come in into her space a little bit, like so, and bring that in as well to kind of, we want to balance this though so that we've got it even on either side. So we might have a little bit of space between the butterfly and those scrolly pieces. And then we're going to also kind of be eye-spying this area here to make sure it's not going too high. And then this would go down here, was my thought, like right here. Breathe, breathe, Renee. Breathe, breathe, breathe. I'm just looking at this again to just make sure, because these are a little bit curvier on this design now than I had actually intended. I wonder if we came down like so, and what about that? It's just nothing's like centered around her head, but I think the butterfly is going to be a great addition like that. I just don't like this this lace showing there on that edge. So let's see if we can fudge this a little bit. Okay, and then maybe our butterfly can kind of sit up like that. Can bring these down just a tad so that we have room, so she's not, the butterfly's not completely off of the page. Yeah, I feel better about that. So I'm going to snap a quick picture, guys, so that I don't forget here. So give me just a quick second. Okay. Whew. Okay, so let's set those down. Boom, 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 boom. I'm going to go ahead and glue this baby down. Fabri-Tac works fine for this paper cluster bit because it's not heavy. It's layered, but it's not heavy or too bulky. So you do want to kind of evaluate that when you're figuring out what kind of adhesive you're going to use. Okay, there we go. I want to get plenty of glue though because I don't want this to go anywhere. So we're just going to really saturate that. Just got glue on my cover. There we go. Okay. So, do we want it to be in the middle-ish? I'm going to set it down. Should have thought about that first. But we're going to put that there. Yeah, I think we were going to put that there. So I'm going to come down just a bit if I can without creating too much of a mess on that edge. Looks okay. I'm going to pick it up so I can see if she's mostly even. That looks pretty good. And I'm going to give it a press. I'm going to put my hand in here so I can get a hold of that. I hope you guys had a good New Year. We had a fantastic time at my daughter's. We can tell everybody's getting older though, like the adults, because it was hard for people to stay awake and engaged. It was pretty hilarious. So okay, so now let's go ahead and put these back on here. Now that we've got that glued down, we can kind of play a little bit. Oh, that's so beautiful. I just want it to be even on her if I can, but then it's not even on the collage bit, so we're not going to be able to do that. And you know what? I'm going to let go of that concern that I have there with that piece of lace showing. So, and I'm just kind of eye-spying it up here to make sure that it looks sort of even. And I love that. It doesn't matter to me that it's not touching those. I'm going to just scooch just a little bit in. Okay, like so. Okay. So here we go. Here goes nothing and everything all at once. It's fun to explore though, guys. It's, you know, and if I absolutely hated it, I could just take it off and cover the cover with something else. So it's not a big deal. I do use quite a bit of this E6000 because the bottoms of my molds are not even. So you want to get contact with all those, as many of those unlevel parts as possible. And I'm going to try to avoid that that paper showing if I can. I'm not going to stress about it because I'm more interested in this being even than not showing that part. So that looks good at the top. It looks good at the side. So let's go ahead and give this a press. E6000 does take some time to set. Okay, and then let's go ahead and do our butterfly. That worked out really well. I'm happy with that. I'm going to hold it up just to make sure it looks, yeah, it looks really straight too, to my eyes anyway. So I'm curious, guys, do you have, choose a word for the year? I do. I never used to because I was kind of a rebel because everybody else was doing it and I didn't want to do what everybody else was doing. But then God just started talking to me about how a word for the year can really kind of set our sails in a good direction for growth. And so yeah, that's why I decided to go ahead and have one. So I've got a little bit of excess there. I'm just going to try to smooth that out and wipe it on my apron. We're just going to plop that baby right there. Oh my gosh, this is so beautiful, if I do say so myself. I love it. Yeah, this journal will be for sale, guys. I don't know about the other one. I might give the other one away. We'll see. I'm behind. We hit 4,000 subscribers, so now I need to get finished with the autumn journal. It's not done. It's done as far as my camera work, but it's not done. And I don't have enough E6000 in this tube, so I'm going to have to reach for another one. Try to get as much out as I can. Let me just grab for another one. Should have another one. Yep. There's actually one that's open already. Okay, let's get some more on there. If you're sensitive to smells though, E6000 is really potent, so you want to be careful. I don't struggle with it, but I know some people can. Oh, we didn't use any of our embossed paper. That happens to me a lot. Oh, that's okay. We'll use it in another part of the journal, so no big deal. Okay. Oh, and then I had a word. So I don't know. I might hold off on the word until I know how I want it to look on the page. Where did it go? We're going to do Winter Wonderland. Whoops. Come on. We're going to do Winter Wonderland, but I'm thinking I might want to build up some kind of little cluster here at the bottom. So I will do that off camera, and I will, I'll see you in the next video, guys. I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope it's helpful. I hope that it gives you some ideas and spurs you to try something a little bit different than your normal. So I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.